Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father. I have an awesome interview for you guys lined up this evening. I have the man himself from Megadeth, Mr. Dave Mustaine. Dave, how's it going, my friend?
It's going great. Just getting ready to do my job.
How's the tour going right now with Fear Factory and Nonpoint?
It's been going really great. I think the fans are they're pleasantly surprised because when you go to see a band that you know, sometimes the opening bands don't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And we picked Fear Factory because they're friends of ours, and I think they're a great band. And Nonpoint, my son Justice had picked, and I didn't know much about him, and I heard him and thought, wow, these guys are really great. So
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy listening to them every night.
Yeah, Nonpoint's got some really great music, and so does Fear Factory. Supercollider is your 14th studio album from you guys, but what do you want the fans to take away from this album?
Wow, good question. I don't know. I don't know that I want anybody to take anything away from it. It's basically, it's a record that we wanted to give to the fans, so to speak. When you're playing music and stuff like that, you're sharing a big part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people will write records and they're just really hard to understand. They're like concept records and stuff
Yeah.
like that. We've never gone down that road because we like the songs. They're kind of like pictures of our lives at any given moment. Going back and learning stuff from euthanasia right now because next year's euthanasia's anniversary. We've been kind of jamming along some of those songs. Last night we played Rattlehead and when you play those songs, you just kind of go back in time to when you actually wrote them and you first experienced them, and it's really a great feeling.
Super Collider is an awesome CD. I really like this one. It's got Kingmaker and Super Collider too. I mean, you guys did an awesome cover of Thin Lizzy's Cold Sweat. What made you guys decide to do that cover?
Because I'm a big Thin Lizzy fan. When I was a kid, I remember hearing "The Boys Are Back in Town," and those chords in there were so bizarre to me because listening to like pop rock and stuff like that, you
Mm-hmm.
don't hear those jazzy kind of chords, and I really liked the band. And then I got the Jailbreak record, and after that it was over. Anybody that knows Thin Lizzy knows what a great, just down and dirty kind of gritty band they are, and in a way, I think that I don't know the man, but listening to his lyrics and knowing what I express in my lyrics, I think that there's a common spirit that Phil and I had, with what we grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
listening to a lot of the stuff about being in the streets and gambling and risking your life and stuff like that. That's pretty similar to what I went through, where I grew up at too, which is really cool because I can identify with those lyrics when I sing them. It's not like you're singing somebody's stuff. Like, for example, I heard there was a girl singer who does Paradise City in her
Yeah.
show, and I thought, well, that's got to be really convincing.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I heard it, cringed a little.
Oh, do you know who it? You know who it is? Who is
Yeah,
it?
it's a country singer if I'm not mistaken.
It was, yeah, that's who it was. I can't remember what the name was because I'm not really familiar with
Yeah,
country stuff. As much as my daughter is, she's totally, that's her thing. She loves country stuff. I listen to it because I'm in the house, and I surrender.
man, I'd seen your daughter singing a Toilet Le Monde, and she nailed it. I'm pretty sure that you're pleased with that on her music career and everything going on, and that's awesome.
Thank you. Actually, she's her worst critic, and she'll tell you that she didn't do that good. I thought she did great
Yeah.
too. Um, First time I heard her sing on a recording, I had to sit down because I thought this is not real. And, sometimes you look at your life and you see good things happening to you, and you
Yeah.
wonder why. And for a lot of people, there's a lot of fans that have grown up with me and watched my life and see the things that the bad stuff that's happened. But I never gave up, and
Yeah.
and I think that seeing things like the way the Justice has turned out, the way that Electra's turned out, they're grown-ups, and they're little people, and it's most people think rock stars kids are drug addicts or losers or criminals, and
Hmm.
they end up in the National Enquirer. I'm proud of my kids.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, congratulations to you, man.
Well, I think a lot of that came from the relationship we have with our fans because we've never really had any distance in between
Mm-hmm.
us. You know, whenever they have problems and stuff, we always share and talk about it. And you know, we've always been one of those bands that are for the people. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's made me a good dad because I've been a good friend to so many of our fans over the years.
Yeah, and I gotta say a lot of respect to you guys because when you do your meet and greets, you're putting them on Facebook, and that's real cool. I mean, you don't see a lot of bands doing that these days. Do you think that some bands have really lost touch with their fan base?
I think that I'd have to know who you're talking about, and
Okay.
they would have to have had touch with them in order to have lost it. And I
Right.
think that a lot of people right now are doing things the way that they know how,
Mm-hmm.
and we just are constantly trying to reinvent the way that we interact with our fans so that they get the best time possible. You
Right.
know, I'm doing a symphony thing in San Diego in April, and we're going to be doing the same kind of thing there. But I'm going to have a one-of-a-kind guitar that I'm getting built for me that we're going to be letting people take pictures with, which is really cool. Just crazy rare stuff like that.
What are some of your favorite songs to play off Super Collider?
Well, we play Kingmaker. We used to do Dance in the Rain when David Draymond was on Gigantor because he sings at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we played Super Collider for a little while, but there's so many songs that we have in our catalog. We usually end up just playing one song off of each record, and I think that Kingmaker most personifies that whole record. If we were going to play one song off the record, because there are songs that are really sad songs like Forget to Remember, which is about my mother-in-law's Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a messed up disease, and it's
Yeah.
very painful to watch them go that way. It's like watching an ice sculpture melt in front of your eyes, and you can't do anything about it. And then you've got songs like Built for War, which are songs about fighting, and the obvious concept with Kingmaker is about the pill mills and the rampant addiction that's going on in our nation, not only to narcotics and stuff like that, but also with psychopharmaceuticals and stuff like that. How quickly they diagnose people and give them medication and stuff. Like the one guy that went on that rampage that they said was all jacked up on psych drugs.
How did it feel to you personally playing the George Jones tribute show?
Oh, that was great. I got to tell you, Nancy Jones is an absolute angel. She was so magnificent, and it was such an honor to play in remembrance of her husband at that event, and to have been invited by her and the good people who had set the production up for that show, Kurt Webster and his organization. We've done some pretty nutty things in my career. I remember the first band I was in, we did a private party out in the woods for a private biker party, and everybody was on acid. And I myself, I don't know how we survived because it was one of those things where you can make a really funny movie out of it. But that seemed kind of normal, doing that as opposed to saying, oh, well, this little Megadeth metal band's going to go play in front of the elite of the country music
Yeah.
world, and not just the ones that are playing now, but the Hall of Famers. And I thought, what the hell? What have I got to lose? I like George Jones, and I thought that he was a rebel, and this is rebellious, and we went and did it, and it was really neat. My favorite picture of all of them is a picture with me and Nancy with Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, because I got to take a picture with Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even really, no offense to those other guys, because they're very talented and just amazing artists and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was so neat for me to know that she wanted to take a picture with me after with all of the people that were there.
Honestly, dude, you're metal royalty. I'm a huge fan of you guys, and I think it's awesome that country opened the door for you guys to come in, and as much
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah, and I made clear that I felt very welcomed, and I was grateful for it because it could have been very bad.
Oh yeah.
Very bad.
Hey.
I know the country music fans are just as loyalist as metal fans are, and
Yeah.
and people can show their displeasure equally. So, when we got off stage, I went back and my wife and daughter were there with me, and I kind of wiped my forehead a little bit, because I was pretty nervous. Right after we were done, we went and talked with the newscaster girl, who is just a very intimidating beauty. So here you go, you play in front of all these people, and then all of a sudden you're being stared down by this beautiful TV personality. It's like, ah!
But it's cool. I did get to see the interview that you did, and you did get a whale reception, so that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, you guys have some tour dates already scheduled for 2014 overseas, and I know you're headlining Bloodstock 2014, but do you feel like, Dave, that the fans overseas are more passionate? I mean, do you see them coming out to more festivals than over here in the U.S.? What's your take on that?
Well, I think you have to live over there to really understand.
Yeah.
There's a total difference in the way that people embrace music over there, because music is something that in a lot of countries it wasn't a right. You couldn't listen to music like this. It was banned. And people, they embraced this way of life, and you really used it a lot of time to escape oppression. I think in a lot of countries, even now, there's places where financial oppression is taking place, and lack of opportunity for people because of the just gargantuan amount of corruption that's going on with all the world leaders right now, that everybody is turning to this kind of music because it gives you some kind of hope. I mean, it's really kind of a drag when you're struggling to be listening to, some guy singing about puppies and flowers and stuff. You want to be listening to something that's going to give you the strength to, persevere. And
yeah.
I don't know, I can tell right now from traveling around the world, things are really rough right now with all of the calamities that are happening, the catastrophes, and what just happened in the Philippines. We were supposed to go to the Philippines, and it's wiped out now. We used to go to Japan all the time.
Yeah.
Now we don't go anymore because of the nuclear reactor.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure you get a lot of emails and plus Facebook, Twitter, things like that, but what does it mean to you, or how does it feel to you when fans reach out and say, hey, your music has pulled me through a dark alley, it's helped me through this and that? How does that feel to you as a musician?
It makes me feel completely overjoyed to know that I've helped somebody, because, I've caused so much pain in my life to people. Just the stuff that happened between me and Slayer and Pantera and Metallica, and we had so many years where we were just bickering and stuff, and it didn't help anybody. So knowing that we have an opportunity to actually help people now, like after Daryl passed away, everybody was too upset to do his the episode on Headbangers Ball that was memorializing him, and I went and did it. That was the beginning of that whole olive branch process, and I think that we're all better because of it. The Big Four stuff that happens, I think that's great. And I don't know. I think that right now heavy metal in general is probably one of the greatest things for people to be able to hang on to.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. Dave, I want to thank you for taking time out and doing this interview with me today, man. I really appreciate it. And as a fan, thank God for Megadeth, and thank God for your music.
Thanks, bud.
Hey, would you care to do a promo for my show before I let you go?
Sure.
Just say this is Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Okay. Hey, this is Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Thank you, Dave, so much, man.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate it. Have a good concert.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you later.
Later. Hey, everybody, stick around. I want to thank Dave Mustaine of Megadeth for being on the show this evening. We got some awesome music coming up from Megadeth, and I want to thank you guys again for taking time out to listen to this interview. And you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Thank you all.